What's up, guys, and welcome to another podcast. It is about episode 6 now, I think, of the F1 QuizCast, and today we are very much peaked with the guest. There's going to be no topping this in terms of F1, surely. So today we have got Aarav with us. Aarava, of course, on YouTube. How are you?
What's up? I'm good. Happy to be here.
Good. So, we're going to maybe take a little bit of a different approach with the podcast today. We're just sort of going to be, I guess, asking a few questions and sort of taking a journey through Aarav's YouTube career, that sort of thing. And we've also got a few questions from you guys that you asked on Twitter. Of course, as always, we've got Matt with us as well today. So, are you looking forward to this today, Matt?
Indeed, although I don't think you'll be hearing much from me today. We've got a much more important guest on here than myself, so about time we get into it.
Yeah, so we'll get straight into it. Obviously, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the podcast down below. Maybe suggestions of some other guests we can get on or other discussion topics for the future. But I guess we'll get straight into it. So I think we should start from the start. That's a logical place to start.
Yeah. Start from the end.
I think a lot of people are intrigued to know quite a few different things. But I was very much curious about the sort of things that you did maybe before YouTube, that sort of thing. And,
right.
I guess just how you used to spend your time before you blew up, I guess, that sort of.
Right. So like pre 2012, I guess then, pretty much, because that's when I started like regularly making videos. Before then, it was just sort of on and off. I think in 2011 was like pointing a camera at a TV and creating like I think 5 videos over 1 year, and that was my F1 YouTubing to an extent in 2011. Before then, I don't really know. I've always said this. I don't really know what I did with my free time. I don't know what I would be doing right now with my free time if I didn't do what I do now. So I think it must have just been video games. Like I'm still massively into video games, still play a lot. F1's still probably a minority in terms of like the genre of video games I play, which probably is quite different to most viewers, I guess, and most people who make the videos. Like I'd say, like in that way, I'm very contrasting in terms of my background. Like a lot of people like to talk about different F1 games they played, like back in the day, like 04, like F1 03 and 2 on like the PS2 and like, you know, all the old stuff. Whereas my first F1 game, proper F1 game, was F1 2010. Like I got in very, very late. My only racing game was Need for Speed, which I guess to most
Hardcore.
F1 community viewers, they kind of shudder at the sound of arcade game. So I think I had a very broad background in like gaming terms, but got into it 2011 with the potato camera, and then slowly
as we've all been there.
Yeah, humble beginnings.
Yeah. So do you think? I think it's quite interesting that you say about you played a lot of those different games. Do you think that sort of helped you in the sense that, you know, now you've come to make videos, you can almost like take bits from every gaming community in that sort of sense? And would you say a lot of your inspiration has come from those different games?
I think it's helped in a way. I think more so is, you know, on top of like playing so many different games, I definitely am just a YouTuber. Like I watch so much different YouTube content still to this day. Probably very different to most YouTubers, maybe my size or bigger. Like I think I get the sense, at least from watching other big YouTubers, that they don't actually watch much YouTube content because they're so busy with their own lives. But I still am a viewer of many different channels, and you can see that on like Twitter if I tweet out about stuff that I'm watching. So I think for sure I've taken like little inspirations, kind of, you know, taking some lessons from what not to do and what to do in some circumstances, like, you know, with YouTube drama here and there, and you know, how people handle like stress or like, you know, video making like problems, or, you know, all that stuff. So I think it's helped in a way. In some other ways it probably doesn't help, because sometimes I'm quite ignorant to some things that I quickly learn from like the comment section blowing up for like F1 things, like, oh, okay, F1 viewers don't like that or do like this. So it has its pros and cons, I guess, I think.
Yeah, I think it often takes sometimes though for you to almost try. I found that myself.
Yeah,
I think Matt has as well, that you almost need to try those new things to, because often it can work, but sometimes it doesn't. But you can just sort of take a step back and say, okay, that hasn't worked. Now let's go on to something else. But I think it takes that almost come up with like a really, really good idea that's sort of cutting edge. And I know that you found a lot of those sort of ideas. So yeah, it's interesting to see where you started. And Matt, I'm gonna let you take the floor with a question now as to what you want to know.
Right, Aarav. So,
right. Oh, jeez. I'm in an interrogation here.
Yeah. Here we go. I suppose what made you start YouTube? Was it just all this gaming that you were doing before, or?
Yeah, I mean, I like the thing is like I'd always, as I said, I watched a lot of channels, so I think I can't exactly remember. I think it must have just been wanting to do it myself, try it myself. I had a channel before this channel that I started like back in like I think 2008 or something like that, and like it was a completely different thing. I didn't do gaming stuff. Because back then I was into like all the tech review videos that you see, people reviewing iPhones and stuff and showing off tech, and I'm still pretty into tech myself right now. So I had that sort of channel, and that just kind of went away with school, and then I just sort of fell in love with F1, the F1 game specifically around 2010. And then when it came to like doing videos, I guess it was more of I'm pretty crap at FIFA, COD, and everything else that I play. Like I play them by myself or with my mates, and it doesn't matter if I'm crap. But for YouTube videos, it's sort of, you need to be at least good enough to produce a good video. And at the time, I mean, obviously now it may be funny to some people hearing that, like, because now compared to most other people, I'm probably on the lower end spectrum of racing skill on YouTube, but back when I started, compared to my other games, it was my strongest game to be like, I'll make videos on this, and I kind of enjoy it. And I think it helped that it was a new game that I'd found out about. Like, if I had been playing F1 games for like years, I think it would have been very, very different.
Yeah, which is I think that's what we're finding at the moment, is that a lot of people are almost like worn down with the fact that they've been playing F1 games for so long, whereas back then it was very much like a new thing. And it's interesting that you say, like, I felt you felt as though compared to FIFA and COD and whatever, you felt good at the game because I guess there wasn't the exposure out there, that sort of thing. And also, you are probably the best on the F1 games out of everyone in this call, anyway. So, definitely better than me. Anyway, flashbacks is what we need. But obviously, you say you probably pretty much started consistently uploading about 2012. I think I stumbled on your channel 2013, I believe it was. Yeah, like that was pretty much like the first time that was when I started uploading, and at that point it was I hadn't really like taken much notice of the rest of the community. So it was sort of, I think, just as F1 2013 was released.
That's when you started your Last Man Standing challenge, right? 2013, I think. Like you started at the back end of that game.
I can't think. Yeah, it was either 2013
I'd like to think so.
or
I think so, if I remember correct.
Yeah. It was that sort of time.
Yeah.
And so I was just sort of like I was curious to know, because obviously I stumbled upon it then. When do you think you really got your big break on F1 YouTube? When people sort of stood up and noticed what you were doing? It's
a weird one, because I don't feel like I've ever had that sort of that moment of like sudden like exposure, because obviously, like, back when I first got into it, 2012, I met most of the community, so it wasn't really exposure, more just meeting people who played F1 games for the first time, because before then it was pretty much a unknown world to me. I just thought, okay, so I play F1, none of my real life friends play F1, okay. So I guess like the first time was when I joined the Afro League, Alex Afro's racing league on 2012, so that's when I met people like Cal and Tom, and like, if I don't know, viewers might know, like people like Mini Cheddars or Kieran, as you might know him, and people like that around, and I still know them now, gratefully. But that's, I sort of got to know them as just people. It wasn't a kind of a video exposure sort of thing. Like, I made videos, joined this league, I started making videos on the league, and then Alex would sometimes share those videos, and so I would get to know more people. But I don't think there was like a big sort of like how you put it, like spotlight moment.
Yeah,
I don't think there's ever been that kind of blowing up phase. I think it's just been steady.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, very, very steady on. I think the only time in my entire time on YouTube where I've kind of air quotes blown up was at the beginning of F1 2015. Yeah. Where I got the PS4 game, obviously, like, I think you two remember it, like, I got it 2 days early.
Yeah.
So, because at the time, like, people were, like, blowing up at the fact that I'd somehow uploaded 4 videos before the release day. It's like, Yeah, niceshop2.com. So that was like the only time I've sort of like instant 1 day blow up. Apart from that, even like last year's game really was quite flat in terms of blowing up. There was like obviously a steady jump, but it wasn't anything like, oh my god, like this is amazing. Like, because back in 2012, the main guy was like I think each game has its own like standout blow up channel.
Yeah.
So like 2012, well 2011 before that was sort of the 4-5 OG guys, and then 2012 was Athleek, who got the game very early.
That's how I got into this game.
Because he had the US version, and so for some reason...
it came out a bit earlier, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because they wanted to do the advertising with Kota being there for the first time, so he managed to get it like 20 days early. So that was his game. That was his game flat out. Like, I remember it was very tough to try and get any sort of views on career mode, because I guess it's kind of funny now. Like, I was watching your guys' podcast with Cal, and it was kind of weird and surreal for you guys to sort of talk about me and Ben in that same sort of like light of us taking most of the majority of viewers for career mode, because back in 2012 that was exactly what happened with Athleek. And I still remember to this day I was an absolute twat of a person back then. I fully regret everything I said back then, like fully moaning about Athleek taking all the views,
remember all this,
and like all the stuff about why is he getting like the game that early, and like looking back on
I hate these channels.
Literally looking back on it, I'm just face palming at like I've grown up a lot since then. Like back then, 2012. So what was that? 5 years ago. So
Jesus.
I was 17. Yeah, it was my first year A levels. I definitely was a big twat back then on Twitter, talking about Athleek. But yeah, Athleek was F1 2012. 2013. I feel like it was probably Ben's game.
Yeah,
Ben really did get like a spotlight moment where it was pretty much at the start, like what was it, like the start of the Christmas period, whereas I feel like he kind of gained traction, and then just kept on snowballing, and then like he's just been killing it ever since then. 2014, I think there was kind of an even spread between everyone who just got the game early. Like there was like 5 of us who got the game early from Codemasters. I think it was like Ben, myself, Alex. And then I can't remember. Definitely
Matt.
Matt, and then I think there was a 5th person. I think that was very spread, and overall, I think you guys can agree. 2014 was a very mediocre game as a whole.
As a game,
it fell flat in terms of community hype and everything. So there wasn't really much to gain. 2015, then I feel like that was my game because I kind of blew up because of those 4 days early, and then 2016 was an odd one. I feel like probably Ben overall did the best on that game as well again. So I don't think I've ever got a huge moment that started my channel. Kind of oddly, I got a blow up moment later on in my kind of YouTube lifespan. But at the very beginning, I don't think there was that moment where it's like, it's jumped from like, I don't know, 200 subs to like 1,000 or something. It kind of just gradually. I think it took me 9 months or something to get the first 1,000. Like, the first 1,000's always the biggest. Like, no matter what, like that's the biggest challenge ever. But I don't think there was ever a big blow up moment. No.
Yeah, I think that's sort of testament to the fact like that if you just upload consistently on a regular basis, then you don't necessarily need that spotlight moment. You're just going to consistently sort of gain traction. You're going to get people coming back to your channel all the time. And I think that's sort of like advice to anyone who was like thinking of starting a YouTube channel or is sort of at a bit of a dead phase at the moment. Yeah, if you just keep grinding away, uploading regularly, then you're gonna maybe not blow up, but you're just going to sort of consistently grow, and all of a sudden you're going to end up with a decently sized channel, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, things don't like happen overnight, and it definitely takes just time. And then also, I think the thing is like nowadays, I think, at least in my opinion, it's sort of a different take on uploading consistently. Like you speak of like a kind of sticking at it, hard work, a grind to stick at it. But I kind of feel like back in the day, 2012. Like uploading that consistently, I think it was just love of the game, just wanting to upload, keep on uploading. Because I was, as I said, I think that going back to the point that I think me being so early into the F1 games, like it was my 3rd game ever on F1 2012. Yeah. So I was still in that kind of honeymoon phase of like, I just love these games. Like, why haven't I been playing these for years? Like, what was I doing with like COD and FIFA only? Like, I could have added this the entire time. So I think that definitely helped, just wanting to upload regularly. I understand now It's very tough. It's very tough. Like, personally, I can fully admit, if I had to restart all over again now, and you had, say, like, I don't know, what if one of you two took over my channel and had my channel, I had to start over again, I would find it very, very hard to know how to crack the whole thing. Like, how to somehow get my name out there. Especially with, like, the time constraints I have right now, it would be a case of there's just not enough motivation, not enough point to it. To want to do it, like, especially for, like, obviously, Joe, you know, you're in first year of aerospace engineering, so you know how busy it is. Like,
I do.
You need this, like, strong force of motivation out of nowhere, and I do get a lot of the struggles that you guys talked about with Cal in that podcast. About lots of people just don't find it because it is, you know, life happens, you know, you've got like personal commitments, you know, when you're only getting like 300 views on a video, it may be fully motivational just to want to go out with your mates instead of making that video.
I get you.
Whereas like now for me it's like I have so many people who will tweet me if there's not a video, so it's almost like an obligation at this point where it's like, oh god, okay, so all these people are going to be like, where's the video, and so that kind of spurs me on when it does get a little bit tough. But at the same time, I still love making the videos. Like, I'm talking it as if like that's gone away. I think that's sort of an underlying fact that I still fully just love making the videos I make, and I think a testament to that is just doing exactly what I want to do, not trying to just follow what most people might do. And I guess you know, with the whole modding stuff, it's just a different world for me that's opened up. So I'm so thankful that I made the switch to PC.
I'd agree with that. I think you often just sort of like need that motivational factor. Like, as you say, in the initial phase, it's very much that honeymoon phase of you just love playing the game, and you think, oh yeah, you know, I want other people to know how much I enjoy playing this game. And you know, put my videos out, and then when you get to a stage where you know you've got a whole community and you just enjoy making videos, then that is like, as soon as you press that publish button and you just see the feedback, it just makes it all worth it, really. And you know, especially on a level such as yourself, where you've just got like thousands of people who are just waiting for that video. You know, I can imagine it's just really satisfying.
Yeah, no, it's like a weird feeling, like having, like, you upload the video and then straight away you got people saying it's made their day on that Friday or something at the end of the week, and it genuinely is like, I keep on I'm so thankful every single week that it just, like, I'm in that position, and I could have never imagined that back in 2012. And I think it's a different world though from 2012 in terms of now. I think people are I think they want the higher numbers too fast, potentially. Because back, like I mentioned, like, you may want to go out with your mates instead of getting like a 300 view video. But back in 2012, that was like the normal for most of our channels. Like, like you guys were talking about in the other podcast about the kind of, you got like your own group, your little tier of you guys who are around like 5,000 to like 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And you've got that little group, and that was pretty much my group back then. But back then, it was like 300 subscribers. And like the top guy was Athlete with like 15k. And at the time, it was like, you know, with all that twat stuff I was talking about, at the time it was like, oh, he's getting all the 15,000 views, the bastards. And like it's like scaled down. And so back then, 300 views was amazing. And so that's something I fully will never be able to relate to, because the scaling was different. So, like, for people to say, oh, I'm getting demotivated by getting 300 views, obviously now that's probably maybe understandable because they've seen the community grow and you would like to think you can grow with it. But back then it was like, oh, I've hit 300, something's gone right here. I you know, someone's shared the video somewhere. You know, I've hit the money.
yeah, I get you. Matt, another question. I think we'll just sort of like try and alternate.
I mean, not necessarily a question, just a point I want to bring up. We may have touched on it in the last podcast, but obviously we have Ben on 200k, and Aarav yourself on about 125k. As I said, we may have spoken about it last time, but do you think, or who do you think will be the next YouTuber to hit 100k within the F1 community, or will there be a person to hit 100k?
I honestly don't know who it'd be, but I'm sure there has to be someone, a third person, that will do it in the next 2 years, because it's just the way with YouTube. Like the status quo doesn't stay the same in any genre. Like you have it with FIFA and COD. Like COD YouTubers will fall off the pedestal and they'll become the kind of mid tier, and then someone new will just come out of nowhere and become the highest tier again. Same with FIFA. I think you see some channels declining a little bit. Maybe they take a step back. Some might take a break, or even in our own community. Matt's gone to the F1 now, so he's switched things up. So you always get that changing landscape. So I feel like I would hope there is going to be a third person out of nowhere, but at this point I actually can't tell. It could be like one of you two, it could be like Cal, Tom, Hayden, like any of these guys, or someone that I don't even know of yet, just coming out of nowhere. I feel like it's a tough one.
It's tough.
It's a very tough one,
really
because F1 on YouTube is it's a tricky one to really grasp, because there's like so much uncertainty every year about what's the next game going to be like. What is it going to be any better for the community? Because a good game and a good game for the community are sort of two different things in a way.
Definitely, I agree with that.
F1 2016 is a banging game. Like, in my opinion, it's been the best one they've made since 2010. Like, they've done such a number on it. If we had this sort of game back in 2012, I can only imagine the sort of videos we were making back then.
Yeah.
But the game was so poor in comparison, so they were quite simple videos. But I don't. It's an odd one. Like, it was such a solid game, and yet now I think the general consensus of the community is quite flat. Like, there's no buzz. There's no sort of. It's quite, as you guys put it, like spread out, strung out, almost like thinned out.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird one. Like, it even gets me like scratching my head, sort of like. Yeah, I don't know why no one's really, pulled along as well. Like, obviously Matt was there, but then he left. Into the Barrier's still there, and he's going to come back to videos, because obviously I spoke to him when I went to Birmingham to test the game.
Right.
And he told me that he's going to be back uploading consistently quite a lot after uni, because he wants to give it a go and see how it goes, basically, after his degree's wrapped up. So he's going to come back into the fold, but then you've just got this huge surprising gap, like that 25-man list that was updated after your first podcast is just like an eye-opener of like, wow, there really is like a huge gulf, and like I don't even know how you would even go about filling that gulf.
Yeah, I think that's the difficult thing now. It's like, obviously you've sort of grasped the whole modding community sort of thing with your My Driver. Ben has pretty much, ever since 2013, he's just sort of like nailed the career mode videos and got a whole community there. I think for me the next gap to fill is the online thing. Maybe not necessarily league racing, but just online itself. If a game can sort of accommodate a person like that, saying that there was not necessarily a game mode, but just, I don't know, like it's difficult because obviously if I knew the answer, I'd be that person that would fill the gulf. But it's like just hitting on that idea online that just makes you become the guy that everybody goes to for those sort of videos. It's difficult because, as you say, 2016 is just sort of flattened out because nobody's really hit that jackpot, and you just don't know whether 2017 is going to be the game or whether it's going to be the same. But I guess only time will tell with that. The next little question that I've got is, how on earth do you juggle university and YouTube? That is just something that I have not been able to get my head around at all.
I don't even know myself, to be completely honest. I don't know how I've managed to do it. Like, I'm so close to surviving it. Like, unless I have an absolute mental breakdown in the next 2 months, I can fully then say I've survived it. I don't know, honestly. I spoke to Cal and Tom about this because I talked to them quite regularly, and like just trying to piece together how on earth it's happened.
Yeah,
I honestly just don't know. I think it's a lot to do with what my personality was like when I went to uni first. Like, because I've definitely changed drastically over the 3 years, and I never believed the cliche about you're going to find yourself at uni, but I really have drastically changed, especially in this last year. I've just completely changed as like a person, I feel like, because when I went to uni, I was so into video games, and that was pretty much all I did in my free time. Like, it'd be like schoolwork, and then I don't know, randomly going out on the weekend. But then pretty much during the weekday, I'd be hop on, play Black Ops 2, chill out, and that'll be it. And that kind of helped out quite a bit in the first year of uni. Like, obviously, I stopped actually making videos for 2 solid weeks during freshers.
Yeah.
And I was fully prepared at that time. I remember telling my mate, my real life friends, like, I'm fully ready to just stop doing YouTube now because I've enjoyed freshers so much.
Yeah.
But then I just found that background urge of wanting to make videos again that I didn't think I actually had because I thought I'd lost it during those 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. During those 2 weeks of freshers, I just had no desire to do it. But then slowly it creeped back in.
It's just there, always there.
Yeah, it's like a drug of like, I just want to make another video because I just enjoy uploading something like that. And then, I think obviously 2014 was pretty... a solid game for me, I'd say. I definitely grew a bit. I think I went from I started off the game cycle 15,000. I think I ended off with 32. So I pretty much doubled my subscriber growth. So that was a pretty decent game. And obviously I started Ultra Mod and carried it on with Season 2 then. And that was a big kind of, just consistent, like you said before, just every week, just keep it going. And it was sort of a routine sort of thing. And then, it just kept on going pretty much like that. I mean, in terms of time management, it's very tricky. There's pretty much only this year in this final... This is why I say I've changed this year, because this year I found myself having those moments of just relaxing and watching Netflix or chilling out and watching just random garbage and just just chilling out. But for the first 2 years of uni, that was pretty much non-stop. There'd be no time to even relax and think. It would just be uni work. Okay, make a video. Okay, then I don't know. I was going to go out with these people, go out with them, come back, make a video. Do uni work. So I don't know. Honestly, I wish I had a better answer, a more coherent answer, but I just don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of when you're in that zone of making videos and just having that desire to keep going. And it's interesting, the way that you said after, during freshers, how you're just ready to give it all up, and then all of a sudden the urge just sort of comes back, and that's exactly how I felt, probably to a lesser degree, because I've never been one for uploading a lot of videos, but I didn't upload for I don't know how long. It was probably about a month. That first month of uni, I was just right, I'm just going to go and enjoy it. And then all of a sudden I was I'll try and make a video, and then all of a sudden
you're back into it,
and I'm back into the groove again. So I think that's a good bit of advice for anyone. If you've got the desire to do it, just keep on. If you don't, and you go back to it
fully,
and if you go back to it and think it's not for me, then
I don't think it would work. I don't think it would work. You would just be wrecking both situations if you didn't really want to do it. But also at the same time, for sure, if you're in that situation of even just school, if you feel like you want to just try, if you feel like it's getting in the way of stuff, just do that stuff and then see how you feel afterwards. Because I think definitely that was a big sort of click for me that, okay, I have enjoyed these 2 weeks of literally just getting sloshed, but coming back after, I do have this urge to make videos. And it was the same thing now during this last year. Well, I feel like I've changed a lot more because back then, as I said, during my free time, I'd usually, if you tossed up a night of playing FIFA clubs with my mates or going out with those same mates to a club night, I would have picked FIFA clubs, just chilling out, having a drink at home. But over this last year, I don't know really what it is. I can't really explain it. Over this last year, I've definitely swung more towards I'll be inclined to go out with them to a club instead and have that good time with them. But at the same time, we went out to Birmingham. That was a great few nights out there. And then coming back and then getting straight back into the swing of okay, got coursework to do, got videos to make. And it's just that easy switch of motivation, which I think comes down to personality type. I think that's just sort of, you're either just that sort of person or not. You can be very time conscious or not time conscious. And that's not really anything you can really help. As much as people like to think you could probably train that, I personally don't think you could probably train that to that degree of I can do a whole degree and basically a near enough full-time job at the same time.
I agree with that. It's I guess it's just trying to get yourself into that zone of the whole routine, as you say, which you've sort of managed to get yourself into. So yeah, it's not the same with everyone, but yeah, I think everyone can say that after 3 years, you seem to have nailed the balance. That's for sure. No matter whether you know how you've done it or not, it's somehow come off anyway.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
Like if I see I said like in this last year, if I manage to come out with like a 2-1 at least with this degree, I'll be fully like over the moon. Like somehow I've pulled it off. Like I don't know how, but it's happened. Like even like on the day of my handing in my dissertation, I uploaded a video then afterwards. And the day before my dissertation handing, I still managed to do the podcast, the Pit Lane podcast, and upload it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's an odd one. It's an odd one, but for sure, like I can fully admit, back in first year and second year, it definitely helped that I was that very different type of personality. I was the very indoorsy type in first and second year, and this year it's kind of swung the other way, but I've still managed to sort of make it work.
Yeah, I'm probably the other way. I don't know, like I do feel like I've sort of changed over the last sort of 6 months or so, to the extent where I much prefer making these sort of videos now. That's more sort of like being more sort of analytical, I guess. But that's I guess a gap in the market, and people seem to be enjoying it at the moment. So it's the same for everyone. They seem to very much change at this stage, but if you've got that solid foundation, then you can to an extent sort of do whatever you want. So yeah, Matt, another one. Have you got a question?
Now, obviously, we know that you've prided yourself on editing over the past few years now of Ultramod, MyDriver. With the MyDriver series, obviously you've managed to mix up everything from the calendar to the drivers to the liveries, everything like that. Now, when F1 2017 comes out, you finish off your vanilla career, that goes a little bit dead.
Yeah.
Do you go back to MyDriver, or do you sort of go ahead of yourself, maybe move on to that next step? Because I don't think you can get much better than MyDriver personally. I'm not sure what you sort of have planned in terms of future content.
Well, MyDriver's a little bit weird because it's weird how the series started out, because I got reminded about this by a viewer on one of my videos. I think it was last week. Like, commented below to think the series started off as literally it was a way to get around the fact 2015 was so shit with no career mode, and that I modded in my own name, and then it literally just started like that. It was a normal career mode, but it just had my own name in it, and I made the Honda as fast as like a normal car. So, and that was it. It was a very simple idea. So it's kind of weird to me that it's grown to this stage, but I've got this weird long-term plan, which kind of may sound quite odd because not many people plan out an F1 series this far in advance, but
one will.
I've literally got like a whole third phase plan. Like I tweeted out like last year at the end of the third season that I was definitely going to bring it back on 2016, and I kind of teased this whole kind of Marvel style phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and I literally have got it actually planned out till that 9th season. And I think I will bring it back for sure in 2017, but like in terms of going further for like a new series, I've got some ideas up my sleeve. It's just the case in point of implementing them, because so far with uni, it's I guess this is maybe one answer to how I've done it over the 3 years. In terms of all the series stuff that I've done, if I created something new, it's been during the summer where I have all this time to like mod it, experiment. But then, once I hit September, like especially this year, basically, case in point, like I hit September, and you just have to get into this comfortable routine of, okay, Friday's MyDriver, do this, do that, done. And I can't really think about any new ideas. So like pretty much my content's been the same for the past 3-4 months, annoyingly, but it's just because I don't have any time to experiment with stuff. But with me graduating in July, I hope that I'll have the time to finally experiment with stuff a little bit more and try these other ideas that I have that may not even be possible, because some of them do involve trying to push what modding can be done on the game to an extent. So we'll have to see. But yeah, for sure, MyDriver is going to be a big part of that. And I think obviously I can't say stuff in detail, but I think also the 2017 game is going to have things that will make it easier for me not have to rely on like me thinking of a miracle idea. Like I think 2017 is going to be a step forward for the career mode, for other aspects of the game in general. So I think, fingers crossed, if everything goes to plan for Codemasters, that I'll do my driver, but it won't be a kind of okay, now I'm fucked because I can't do anything else. I don't have any ideas. I think there will be
interesting.
I like the sound of that.
I think there will be stuff that will entice people to come back to the game. I think for sure. Yeah. And I think you guys touched on it, like talking about the whole future, like how many of us will still be around.
Yeah.
From the direction Codemasters are wanting to take these games, I really do hope that like you two and everyone else does stick around, because I think the direction is the correct direction. I feel like it's a good direction they're going to go in. I think it's just a case of, life just gets in the way for some of us. And just, I think as a community, we're all getting older, obviously. And, for most of us, we started off in like A-levels, or we started off in GCSEs.
Yeah.
And so as you get older, obviously the time comes into it, you get more commitments. And so I think it's just natural progression, maybe, that people just can't make videos. But if anyone's gone away from making videos just for the pure fact they don't want to make videos, they don't enjoy the game anymore, I think there will be certainly things in the future that may entice them back, because I think they are going in the right direction to try and make the game, the vanilla game, even more playable. Because obviously it's a weird one, because I can find enjoyment of the F1 game all year round now that I've kind of found this way to mod the game and I can make it how I want. But the vanilla game, when I went up to testing, the focus is on the vanilla game. What's going to be the best vanilla game they can make, and trying to get as much of my driver as I can into the vanilla game. Because all this time, people tell me, my viewers will tell me that I wish I could do this on console, and it's a big flaw in the fact for the community that obviously anyone on PS4 and Xbox can't do the same stuff. So that's also another kind of barrier to entry almost for like F1 videos these days. It's like if you are on console, you are basically bounded by how good the game is, and as you guys pointed out, there's eventually there's only so much difference you can have in an F1 game. I mean, like, I know it's sometimes thrown around as like an insult to people who like racing, but let's be honest, like, being completely honest here and being analytical, if you look at the F1 game, not the sport, let's look at the game, it is just a car going around in a circle, trying to beat other cars in a circle. There's not much you can do with that compared to Call of Duty, where you can have a guy flying around with an AK, doing backflips, and then doing like a prop hunt where he turns into a prop and hiding in a map. Like,
there's a bit of a difference there.
There's only so much you can really do. Like, I'm trying to think, like, even like a prop hunt F1 wouldn't work because everything's moving. There's nothing stationary about F1. Yeah. So, like, there is a big limit to the vanilla game, but I would say, obviously I'm under NDA, but I would say, I said it in my video, but I'll say it again here, I think there's a lot of stuff there that they are going to try and put in this year's game coming up, and then stuff they've got planned for the future that I feel like is the right direction. It's just going to take some time, because it's just a lot to put in for a studio like Codemasters. Like, they are so small compared to other studios that make AAA games like EA or like, Xbox. And so they've got a tough task to try and put all this stuff, and so they've only got a finite amount of time to put everything in. But I just hope people don't completely give up on the game, because it is getting better and better each year. And especially for the next game, there are a few things I can't say obviously at the moment, but I think they're going to be big points of like hype for the community. Hopefully, cool. I hope
that's interesting. That is interesting. So obviously, as you said, you're graduating in July. What is the plan once the uni is all out the way?
Honestly, no clue. I think at the moment I'm cautiously, basically just going to see how this YouTube thing goes. Just cautiously dip my toe into the water. I think I'm pretty much going to give myself a year to basically see how it goes. I think I've talked to friends, I've talked to my family, more importantly, and they're kind of behind me, kind of just trying it for a year. Because in terms of like staying on my own 2 feet, I think it's possible to do it for me. It's just a fact of like, will the apocalypse happen like in December and my channel just decline or something? That's the only worry. But if it all goes plain sailing, then I mean, at the moment I'm enjoying it as much as I ever have done with my driver and just the content that I truly want to make. And I think at this point yeah, I just love making the videos, so we'll just keep it going, really.
I mean, an aerospace engineering degree isn't a bad thing to be falling back onto either.
Exactly. Not many people can say they have an aerospace engineering degree as a backup plan, in the back pocket collecting dust. So it's a little bit odd. Like I also do get questions about that. Even my own uni mates on my course, or sometimes I remember back in December, I would come into uni. I hadn't been into lectures for a week at that point, and they're like, "Whoa. What are you doing here?" Oh yeah, got the coursework due in, tomorrow. So come in and do the work. It's like, why are you still here? You're doing YouTube, and you're doing so well on it. Why are you still here? It's like, well, I'm in my third year. May as well finish it at this point. Yeah. There definitely was that aspect of if I had honestly got to this point at first year, I would have fully considered just taking maybe a permanent gap year and seeing how it went, and then maybe going back to it. But because I wasn't that big in first year and second year, to the point where it's like, oh, hang on, I've got this thing going on here. Just continued it on as best I could.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Matt, have you got anything else at all?
Not really. I reckon we should move on to those Twitter questions.
Yeah,
very insightful ones in there.
So much insight. So much insight.
There was one good one that I saw. I'm really underprepared. And where are we? There we go. Right. There was one good one that I did see.
Right. That's promising. Really promising.
Yeah, very good. Where are we? Oh, there. This was from Alex, Mencon R1. I probably pronounced that wrong. It says to ask you what you think. You sort of touched on this a bit, and I know obviously you are under the NDA. But he just basically asked what Codemasters could do to provide more longevity into the game.
It's gonna be difficult for her to answer.
You've touched on the offline, but he just sort of says just what can they do to keep people playing the game.
I think honestly, they need to engage casual players so much more. They need to do more kind of off-the-cuff game modes where in F1 you don't need to necessarily be a hardcore F1 fan to enjoy it, because I think the problem is the hardcore people always play the game anyway. They're hardcore. They're called hardcore people for a reason. I'll play the game all year round. League racers will play the game all year round. But to truly make it a get the longevity, it's all about the casuals, because if they're not playing it, then that's half your player base probably gone. In the first 2 months, obviously there'll be an uptake, especially for videos. Obviously in the first, pretty much 2-3 weeks only, there's a huge uptake of videos, and then it sort of dies off. And then in terms of people just playing it by themselves, I feel like there's a die off of 2-3 months, and then obviously the people who really do enjoy F1 games will still play it, and then league racers will continue playing it because they're in a league, so they've got to continue it. Otherwise they'll get usually blacklisted from their league or something like that. But I honestly just think they need to engage the casuals, because as much as realism is important, and obviously most of the Twitter community will bang on about that till the end of the earth about realism and this and that, I think at the end of the day, it's the unspoken majority that needs to be catered to, which is the casuals that aren't on F1 Twitter, that probably only have the people who only have YouTube accounts. And so when I talk about something happened on Twitter in one of my videos, they're like, huh? What happened? What? Those proper casuals that they enjoy the F1 game, they enjoy the F1 videos that people make here and there, but they're not fully engaged in the community enough to they're sweating it out 20 hours a week, or they're fully engaged in their 6th season of career mode by March. I honestly think you need to get to those people who give it up after 1 season or 2 seasons, like yourself. Because I remember in the other podcast, Matt was saying that you obviously you only record it for videos. I'm the same way. I think that's just I found that interesting at the time, because I fully think that's actually just a thing that content creators get. Because I think I wouldn't be playing the F1 game as much as I do if I did not make videos at this point. Honestly, 100% could say that I wouldn't be playing the F1 game as much as I do still if I wasn't making the videos. But as a counterpoint, there's that other side of it, is because of that, I don't play the F1 game for anything but videos. But I think that's with everything. I watch Twitch streamers that play certain games, and then then they tweet about playing other games offline, away from their streams, away from their videos. I think you have to have that. Otherwise, you go a little bit stir crazy, sort of like playing the same game. Like I can't imagine playing the same game for YouTube videos as I do with like my real life friends. Mm-hmm. Like I think I'd go a bit mad. Like just playing 2 hours with my mates, having a good time, having a drink here and there, and then the next day I'm going to play the same game for a video though. it would just get too much. You just get like too repetitive.
Yeah.
But, go on.
Yeah. The next question, very insightful one from Hayden Gullis, which is how many pairs of shoes do you have?
I saw this one. I honestly don't. I'm gonna have to look over my room and kind of sort of count. I think 3, 6, 9, 12. I would say like 13. I think 13. Okay. I'll say 13.
It's not too bad. Not too bad.
I've only recently got into shoes. I think people can cut me a break. Like I literally before September didn't give a crap about my shoes or even my clothes, to be honest. Like that's another thing. Like I said, I changed personality wise. I think that's part of it. I've started caring about all this stuff. I didn't care about it at all. Like, I think before September last year, I pretty much had one pair of white Sports Direct Nike trainers that I wore everywhere for 2 years. And so it's now kind of flipped of like now I kind of care about choosing like a trainer for a day or something like that.
Yeah. The next question is from...
Who is in charge of looking after Cal at Silverstone?
I don't... It's certainly not going to be me. I can tell you that.
You've called shotgun now.
I'm going to be pissed off my face. That's my plan. That is my... If anyone is watching this and eventually does meet me at Silverstone, if they're going, and you happen to bump into me or you find me via, if I tweet out or something, and it seems like I'm a little bit off and like something's not quite right, it's because I'm probably pissed. I am fully planning on just drinking my entire body weight in alcohol that entire 4 days. Because it's...
Not a bad plan.
Yeah, it's just going to be like, July, after all that's happened over this year, such a busy year. I've also had like this new thing of just trying to cut out most of my carbohydrates. Mm-hmm. And so obviously alcohol is quite a big thing of that. So July is just going to be just a 4-day bender, basically, of watching F1 and having a good time. It's certainly not going to be me. I vote probably Tom, because I think Tom would get quite pissed off at Cal if he had to get taken care of. So I think that'd be quite funny.
Well, I'm going to Silverstone the week after the British Grand Prix on the Thursday for Formula Students. So just so long as you're not still in that field, then
yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll get that bad where you still find me like asleep on the field. So. Yeah, just leave him there.
Yeah, we'll see. The next question is from Sam Godfrey. And it says, why is his content so good and entertaining? And like it sort of brings me on to how do you like engage your viewers so much?
I don't. It's funny. It's funny for me to hear that from you because, in my opinion, I don't do a very good job at engaging my fans or viewers. Really, not fans, viewers, in a way that other people have done. Because I think honestly, Ben and Matt have done infinitely better jobs at somehow basically creating fandoms around themselves, especially Matt and Ben specifically. Other people have done the same sort of thing as well, but I honestly think I'm more... I've said this to Cal and Tom before, but I fully think that I'm the equivalent of like an... I don't know if you guys watch a lot of FIFA, but do you know MGH in FIFA?
Yes.
Like these days, he's getting a lot of slack from other FIFA career mode people like Niren and stuff like that. But
oh god,
in general, over the course, he's been one of those career mode guys where he gets the views and he's like one of the biggest career mode people for FIFA. But you see in his comment section and you see generally on Twitter and stuff, he doesn't really have like a big fan following. Like fans aren't tweeting him constantly and there's not that sort of true engagement. And I've said this to Cal and Tom, I fully think I'm in the category for F1. I think more people watch it for the actual content rather than actual like anything to do with me. Like I don't think I'm a very good commentator compared to someone like Matt. Definitely not. But I think because of, like you said, because of the editing, like I play to my strengths, and I fully think that that's my strength. So I play to that big time. I try and push that out as much as I can, and really, I don't really apart from the odd, obviously, while I'm commentating, there'll be the odd kind of random thing I always say, like, I don't know, audacious move, like Ben joked about tweeting me and stuff like that, or like an absolute stunner. But that's pretty much like the only bit of my personality that comes across in the videos. Apart from that, I fully, on purpose, try to focus it on everything else, because I know that's my strength. I fully realise that. So it's actually kind of weird for me to hear that, because I don't think I actually have that sort of engagement factor. Obviously, the tweet was about making entertaining content, and I guess I'm just sort of shrugging my shoulders like, okay, I'm doing something right, so I'll just continue doing it. But in terms of like engagement, I fully don't think I've done like a great job. I think Ben and Matt have somehow, to this day, I still won't know how they've created this kind of fandom around themselves on Twitter and like YouTube. Like, you'll see the if you compare like comments, I think it's a very different comment section, the two of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's just I think that's also to do with my personality. Like, if you meet me in real life, I'm very, very low key. Like, on YouTube videos and like this podcast and like, you know, talking over the internet, it's very easy to like, you know, talk loud and talk confident. But in real life, I think if you ask my real life friends, I'm a very, very low key person. Usually not the center of like the group's jokes and stuff. I'll be the one laughing at other people's jokes. I'll be like very low down on the kind of, oh, you're here in present. So I think it's kind of weird for me to hear that. So yeah, I don't know. It's an odd one. It's an odd one.
I guess you say it's just playing to your strengths, and I suppose it's testament to you, the fact that you sort of realise, okay, like maybe I'm not that sort of person.
Yeah, I mean
that Ben and Matt are.
Yeah, I fully don't have an issue with that. Like, I'm amazing. Like, I'm very impressed with how when Matt had his channel, and still obviously on what the F1, and with Ben, I'm fully impressed with, you know, how they've been able to do it. Like, because you see so many people that are so like engrossed in what they do on like Twitter and YouTube, in terms of engaging with their content, and I fully realise that. And it's not like I'm like it's not something negative that I take away from it. It's just the fact that, okay, that's not my strength. My strength is this other thing, and in my opinion, I do that other thing better than anyone else, and so I should just focus my time on that rather than getting too caught up on, I've not got this same sort of level of engagement. But I've surprisingly seen it slowly get better, like you were talking about with the whole My Driver sort of engagement.
Yeah,
it's been getting more and more lately, like I said, with the whole, it's made my Friday and stuff like that. Like those sort of comments, which have been really quite heartwarming, and when I see them, because it's just crazy to think, like, really, that like it's actually made your day. Like it's all like, you must be lying, surely. You must be just trying to, give me a fake compliment here, because me sitting in my bedroom, I don't understand how it's made your day. Like, just the video I've uploaded, but if it is, then I'm entirely grateful. And that sort of engagement's been going up and up and up. But over the course of like my time on YouTube, I've definitely been more of a kind of subdued sort of, I'll let my content do the talking rather than my personality do it.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Matt, have you got any other questions on Twitter?
No, I mean, I can agree with that as well. All my focus just goes into the editing. And more than focusing on the driving, it's about, the storyline, the rivalries in the career mode. And to be fair, I don't actually use social media that much, and I feel that's one area that I lack, like, considerably, is interacting with subs. Considerably, honestly. It's something I desperately need to improve on.
I think it's... Go on.
No, carry on, it's fine.
I think it's difficult to be like, I want to interact with your subs, because it does get difficult to keep on doing it consistently every single video. Like, I think Tom is very good at this at the moment, what he does. He tries to reply to every one of his comments. I don't know how he does it. But I honestly, like, fully hands up, I can't do that now, because there's just too many. There's just too many comments. Like, also, I'll get sometimes the feeling that sometimes people will tweet me, and if I don't see the tweet, they might get disheartened that I've not seen it and replied, or even just favorited it or something like that. But it's like, there's now at the point where, also myself, like you, Matt, I think recently, I think in general, a lot of us have like stopped being on Twitter so much. Like, I've tried to cut back on how much I'm checking my Twitter as often, especially over this last year. I still tweet out quite a fair bit when I actually am on, but when I'm not on, I feel like I check it less and less, just because I'm focused on kind of uni and YouTube and just social stuff, and it's just sort of, it's definitely hard to keep up engagement.
Yeah. Next, any more questions have we got? I Okay, who would you take on a night out? I don't. Is that just a general one?
I don't know. Just like a.
We've got another one. We've got another one.
What's the context?
We've got another similar one to that. So I'll go with that one.
Right. Okay.
If you had to buy a drink for a driver, who would it be?
Is current drivers? Because if it's not current drivers, it's no brainer. But
obviously.
We're talking.
Okay, we'll go current drivers. Because obviously, if it wasn't, it'd be Button. So
if we're talking current, if we're talking current drivers, it would either be a toss-up between Sebastian Vettel or I want to say like someone like I don't know, like I feel like Ocon or Perez or Verline or like Giovinazzi would be quite banterous on like a taken out for a drink or something like that.
What about Danny Ricciardo? You forgetting about him?
Ricciardo would be quite banterous, but I feel like you see his banter in full force anyway on social media. I feel like Ocon, someone like Ocon or like Giovinazzi is like a secret absolute lad behind the scenes, and he'd be hilarious to chat to. Or just Vettel, because I think Vettel, every time in interviews, I just love his sense of humour. He's got for being a German, he's got a very British kind of dry sense of humour sometimes, of like a lot of sarcasm and kind of implying the joke rather than saying it. So I think he'd be quite a laugh. Also, just to kind of pick his brains a little bit, being a quadruple world champion, really.
I think ever since he went on Top Gear, I think everyone just like appreciated Vettel a whole lot more for like you say that whole sense of humour that he's got. So yeah, that'd be pretty good. Any more questions have we got? Okay, one more. We've got an actual F1 question here. Who would you like to see replacing Kimi next year? That's from Jamie Singleton.
Replace. That's a big task, to be honest. Like I think a lot of people underestimate sometimes the job Raikkonen still does, even if it's not as great as Vettel. That's a tough one. See, the thing is, my heart just wants to say, just Ferrari, just fuck it, just get like a top driver in there, or bring back Alonso in there, or just bring one of the top drivers in. But honestly, I really don't know. I think it would either be like someone like, I don't know, Perez maybe, or Grosjean, someone who previously linked at Ferrari. I would say Giovinazzi, but that's a bit too much of a stretch, I think, in real reality.
But he hasn't,
But someone Ferrari linked, I would say. I don't know. Who do you guys pick to like replace Raikkonen?
I would.
I'd go Sainz.
I'd go Grosjean to Ferrari, and then put Giovinazzi in Haas.
That makes it would make a lot of sense.
But the thing is, I support Perez, so I'm kind of in a bit of a dilemma here, because I also like Giovinazzi,
true.
so I want him in F1 somewhere, but at the same time I want Perez in that Ferrari, so where does Grosjean go? It's all a bit confusing, but yeah, I'd go Grosjean.
Yeah, I'd go Sainz, personally.
Sainz,
Just
I mean, that has been,
I think it'd be difficult, obviously, because he's a Red Bull driver, but I think, like, at the end of this season, he's almost got to say, right, fuck it, I'm gonna get out of this contract and go somewhere.
That actually may be like a top shout, because like you said, at the end of this season, he does have to kind of be like, okay, I'm either getting a Red Bull seat or I'm going to another team, because I don't think he'll stay at Toro Rosso for another. I hope he doesn't, because I'm warming to Sainz. I've never been like a major fan, but I've always liked him as a driver, liked his driving style, liked the personality. And this season, like obviously without Button, I'm sort of kind of free falling about who am I really rooting for here. So I'm sort of just watching it as a neutral. But Sainz is definitely one of those drivers where I feel like, I think he does deserve that step up. So I think you may be onto something. Maybe, might be seeing Sainz and Vettel. Might be a worldly partnership.
It could be. I think that's about it for the questions on Twitter that we've got, and I think that just about caps it off. Have you got anything more that you wanted to say, Matt?
Not really. I think this has been relatively successful. We got to our time target of an hour. So
everything has gone to plan. It's almost too good to be true. But honestly, it's been a massive pleasure to have you.
It's been great. Like I saw you guys. What was it in the other podcast with Cal mentioned that you wanted to maybe get people on if you could. And I think I remember straight away like tweeting you like a Vettel gif of like I'm open. I think like onto that final to kind of end it off. We talked about bridging the gap to community and like what, and I think there's been a lot of talk about unnecessary talk about maybe some of us top guys trying to do something to bridge that gap, when in my opinion, honestly, you can hate me for saying this, I don't think it's our job to necessarily bridge the gap.
But
I agree. It isn't.
At the same time, I have no qualms about engaging with other people. I think a lot of people mistake doing collabs where there's a genuine kind of connection and friendship versus doing a collab for the sake of, oh, you're a big guy, you should be doing a collab with a smaller guy.
Yeah.
And you know, I've known Joe since 2013. I've spoken to you, Matt, since I would say like 2014, I think it was.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, you know, like if I know you, like, and you know, I've talked to you guys both on Twitter, like, from time to time. Real no qualms doing this, and if ever you do want to have me back, I'd absolutely be a pleasure to be back. You know, there's no qualms in that. I think that Ben's pretty much the same. Like, if we know you in the community, I think it's pretty damn easy to strike up a conversation and just you know, get things rolling. And I think for like as a final parting thing, because I think a lot of the themes have been starting channels and, you know, growing and stuff like that. I know, like, the podcast with Cal, you guys were talking about the community as a whole, and that was quite a invigorating video. I think a lot of people got quite engaged with that on Twitter and in the comments. I think like a parting thing would just be to, like, people watching who do have maybe smaller channels that maybe don't think they're getting anywhere with F1 stuff. Just keep at it. Like, you have to be consistent, one, and then two, in terms of getting your name out there, I think the best thing you can do is sort of engage with Twitter with F1 Twitter as much as you can, and basically just hope that your viewers can also share your videos out a little bit more. Like, I saw one comment on your last podcast with Cal, that one guy was like, one way that someone's grown their channel has been through moderating my Twitch chat, which I think that was Alf, who started his channel, his like F1 videos, and kind of got into the F1 community because he's a mod in my chat when I used to really do Twitch. It's kind of died off in this last year because that is one thing. Third year, it was too much for me to carry on Twitch. So there's one thing, Joe. I'm not superhuman. There was one thing I did have to cut out. But that's a very interesting point. I guess that's sort of a big thing that you kind of have to hope that and kind of encourage maybe your viewers to share your stuff with other people in the community and kind of, you know, I will genuinely, if someone tweets me and it's like, if it's a viewer that I've seen constantly tweeting me, like now I've got to the point where I do recognize viewers and subscribers that do tweet me regularly. I do recognize their profile pictures. And if one of them was to like tweet me like a video of someone else that they've watched and they genuinely think is really good, I will genuinely click on it and check it out because, you know, it's like, you know, they're a loyal viewer, and so I would like to think, okay, they're watching my video, so they like my sort of content, and they've seen this other sort of content, they think it's pretty damn good, let me just check it out. And I think that was pretty much the same way with when me and Cal saw Hayden. I think someone tweeted Cal or something like that about Hayden. Cal watched it and then tweeted, and then we were in a Skype call, told me about it, and then we tweeted him out. So I think that's just it. I think a big part of it is just make sure you get involved, but also stick at it. I know it's a tough thing, for sure, as I said. If I started all over again now, it would be so hard. So I salute anyone that is trying to start up their channel right now. And I can only hope the community starts to grow up a little bit more and just get back to the engagement levels we used to have, even though when we did have that sort of engagement level, you had twats like me on 2012 saying stuff about athletes. Like, that's one thing. Like, the community may have like slowed down a little bit, but at least I don't think there's been a lot of controversy lately, to be honest. There hasn't been a big Twitter drama for a while, has there?
Well, I swear there was one last week, wasn't there?
Yeah.
When? What?
Not big, but minor-ish.
Minor-ish. I don't think there's been a big blow-up one, because I don't know if like Matt and Joe, I don't know if you were fully around back then when like the full big blow-ups of 2012 and 2013 were happening.
Athlete and Mickey, no. That's when I just joined.
That was a baptism.
I remember writing some really mean comments.
That is a baptism of fire then into the community. Yeah, like back then it may have been quite engaging, but my god, it was so toxic back then. Like now it's like a lot more calm and a lot more civilized, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for rambling on. Just like kind of like a parting thing, because I know like the last podcast you did in this sort of style did get people kind of talking and engaging. So just thought, since I'm here, may as well, because I don't do this often on my own channel, kind of talking directly to viewers about YouTube and stuff. I kind of just tend to stick with the content, as I said.
Yeah, it's refreshing. It is
very good. So yeah, I think that just about caps it off. And as I said, it's been a real pleasure for you to be on, Aarav. And obviously, Matt, thanks for joining us as always. And
no problem.
if you have managed to stay this far into the podcast, do leave a comment down below on some of the discussion points that we've talked about. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'll leave those guys' links down in the description, but if you don't know who Aarav is, then what are you doing? So yeah, I'll catch you guys.
Please sob, I'm small.
And yeah, we'll see you later. Take care. Bye.
Bye.